Welcome back to Dr. Jeremiah. We're going to get right into love in the womb. We greet you in the only name given amongst men by which you must be saved. We're having some lighting issues here, but it's actually resolved by using natural light in the evening, which is strange. This is Jeremiah. He is on fire. We have our Bible open to James chapter 1, but we're not going to go there. We're going to look at some Bible concepts pertaining to beauty again, and this is love in the womb. I'll probably highlight this and call this 1.7 or something like that. This will probably be under 1.7 for those of you who are following along digitally, and I could make it 7.6 also. So it will probably be in at least two places. Remember, some of these videos will be in two places. Okay? This is Jeremiah with New Covenant. We're going to get right back into this. We'll let go of all the platitudes and let's get going as we are excited here. We just got a new piano for the ministry here to make some music, and it's a wonderful piano. I used to work with acoustic pianos as a pianist, and I wasn't a very good pianist, but this new technology is amazing. Wowie Kazowie. Now these electrical units won't last as long as an acoustic unit. All you need is a little feather felt in there to refurbish a acoustic piano. Electrics, I think they're toast once they're toast. But anyway, this is Jeremiah. We have a lot going on here. A busy day already. It got started late, but we have a lot going on here. And I have a couple of lessons I won't mention that are coming on the ramp here. But let's get into what we're going to do today. Remember, this is New Covenant. This is Jeremiah. We greet you in the only name, and we just give thanks to God for you and for the opportunity to share scriptures with you and concepts. Now we're going to get into a few scriptures here momentarily. We have a few more items talking about love in the womb. And I have one video up. I think I'm going to put one more video up, and we're going to move on. We're going to let love in the womb go. Okay? Snap, crackle, pop. Krispies. Now, we're going to, so get ready. We're getting ready to get into the matrix. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 20 under beauty now. And so pretty soon I will be referring to those digitally. You don't have to keep track of it, but I will. Such as 117 means you're going to hang around heaven. And you're going to be hanging. You're just going to be, as they say now, they're chilling. You're going to be chilling around the throne of God. And of course, the other gift is you're a pillar in the church, which means you're a pillar and you're hanging, are two of the gifts of beauty pertaining to a scenario. Okay? Remember, beauty is also a scenario, which I didn't get into, pertaining to Jerusalem is beautifully situated. Talking about architecture. To talk about beauty, we could go forever. I've decided to limit it to a couple of more videos, and I'm going to let it go. I'm not going to go into Jerusalem is beautifully situated and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that. The beauty goes on. I could go on and on. We already have 170 or so videos, and I've decided we better stop right there because I have to get back into other items. It's basically impossible to exhaust every subject in the Bible. You know what I mean? You can't just go into everything on everything. Let's put it that way. Okay? It's not going to work. You have to pick your spots and move on. There's a wonderful Korean teacher who comes on the web, and he's on the web rather. I was going to say come on television. That's what we used to say. But he's on the web, and he has 15-minute lessons, and I like that now. I used to like I preferred long lessons, not anymore. I like breaking up my lesson. In other words, the lesson's long, but I want segments to be short. That's my new thing here. And 30 minutes actually is too long because I can sense the attention span of my listeners and when I look at the YouTube viewing situation, okay? The duration. So we're going to adjust to the way people are thinking in this Laodicean period, and which is very little attention for things that have discipline in a spiritual realm. That's quite obvious when it comes to Bible study and so forth. When it comes to sports and physical things and the abilities of the human body and so forth, the web is basically 80-90%, that's what it is. Physical achievement and fleshly enjoyment, which is quite obvious. We here, we're into intellectual, spiritual things, but let's get into that right now. Now, we left off on the wave of the flow of two human beings into a new living soul, which you learn in biology and so forth. Then we went to holy matrimony. I have some pictures of some holy matrimonial situations on my videos. And those of you who have watched my videos, you know that we bounce around a lot. We bounce around all over the place in those images. Now I've decided to become more thematic. My future videos are going to be more along the lines of all paintings, all pictures. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to have landscape paintings of the ocean, landscape paintings of mountains, and so forth. I've already emphasized clouds a lot here because that's what the master likes to be in, clouds. For those of you who are following your Bible study, the master likes to be in clouds. Don't ask me why. You can ask him. But he comes in the clouds 2 times. The rapture and then in the tribulation period. That's obviously for Jacob, who is in trouble. It's called Jacob's trouble, the 7-year period. He's going to get them out of trouble. He's going to get them out of trouble from a cloud. He comes in the clouds. He made the clouds. I guess he has a right to use them. That's the point. And if Father wants to use clouds, I have nothing to say. I think it's wonderful, actually. I think that the older I get, the more I begin to appreciate things that are called mundane or banal. I forgot how they pronounce that word. I heard that word in college. Banality, which means everyday or prosaic or some words like that. Okay, let's get into Love in the Womb, and it's a series of agape here, and of course I'm going to put it under beauty, probably 7.6. So that'll be under human beings being something that is created, that is amazing. That's the point. And so we're getting into that obviously right now, and we left off on holy matrimony and talking about, we looked at Hebrews. We looked at that insertion in the middle of nowhere, where Paul makes that insertion in the middle of nowhere. You know, that marriage is to be held in honor among all, right in the middle of nowhere. So we looked at that. We're not going to go back to that again. I wasn't going to go back to that. But that's in Hebrews, and it means that marriage is honorable among everybody, which means that you who are honoring marriage, you are honorable. That's what that means. And people who are not honorable are going to find themselves in trouble. That's what the quotation is. And it's in the middle of nowhere. It's an aleatory reference. It basically doesn't fit the context precisely. Now he mentioned that, of course, in the earlier part of the chapter when he mentioned, and that's in chapter 12, of course, Hebrews 12. He mentions fornication and being wild out there romantically and so forth. But we're not going to get into any of that. I just wanted to mention that it is part of the chapter, but it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. So marriage is to be held in honor amongst everybody. It's honorable when you do it. That's what it means. But when you dishonor marriage, then you dishonor marriage. And that God is going to assess and condemn people who don't pay homage to marriage. Because it's a command, and that command is what brings honor. What brings honor is for you to do that which is right or in righteousness. That's where honor comes from. Now, it's an imputation of honor, but we won't go into that right now. I just want to mention that that's what the Bible is saying, that you either go the honorable way or you're going to find yourself hurting for certain. That's what Paul is saying. To put it in American verbiage. And you can look at that, but we won't go to that right now. I just mentioned that, but we're going to move on. So the baby starts small and tiny, which is what we're basically focusing on. And we already talked about how we don't get into a lot of verbiage or terminology here pertaining to humans. A human is a human when a human is a human. Whether you're over there or you're in your mother, or it doesn't matter to us. We Protestants, and we're going to let that go. We've already hit that up pretty big here. 16 I call the design of high intelligence, which is a special original gem. Now, I throw a lot of gems at you in my videos, and I think some of you, I think many of you are going to enjoy looking at these gems and becoming more familiar with gemstones, especially in relationship or how they're related to heaven, because God has decided, your Father, which art in heaven, he has decided to build a new city, and it's very beautiful, back to beauty again, and he's decided to use gems and the colors of the gems as a major part of the architecture. Okay? In other words, get ready, because Father likes gems. That's the point. Daddy likes gems, and you may as well get used to it. My dad, my earth father, I have two fathers. My earth father liked mayonnaise. And if you didn't like the smell of mayonnaise and the look of mayonnaise, you couldn't sit down and watch my dad eat, because he had mayonnaise on everything. He might have put mayonnaise on toast. He was just a mayonnaise. Now, I wasn't a heavy mayonnaise guy. I've never been one. So, however, I like yogurt, which is almost the same thing. Probably, I think it has the same components, which is just fat and milk, lactose or something. But let's get going. Now, we're going to look at how design creates gems. And here's the thing. I already have a video on which I probably will call 18. That'll be 7.18. That's probably going to be in stone. I'll probably keep 7.18, 7.18. I'll probably have that as 18 out of 100 before it goes and makes 9. So I can't go over 99, 7.99. Like 99 cents gets to $1, and you have to use the decimal point. For those of you who are following your math here. So what am I saying? I'm saying that I'm going to get into gems, but I'm not going to go into gems too much. I've decided to show you how different people have different opinions as to what heaven's going to look like as far as color, because that's 7.18 now in stone in this ministry, which is, you may as well get used to a wall around you relative to your, wherever you stand in heaven, that a wall is absolutely beautiful, and it's sparkling, and it's heavy gem oriented. In other words, it's just a giant wall, and it probably has different tiers of 12, 12, 12, 12 of layers of gems and these colors. I'm going to talk a little bit about these colors, but there's so much speculation. Let me share this with you. There's a lot of speculation out there as to, amongst the Christian brethren, as to what those 12 colors are going to actually be, because you might say a gem is this color, but there are blue emeralds and there are green emeralds. Which one is it? I have a feeling it's going to be green, but that's just an opinion, and I'll probably give you a quick opinion, and I'll show you some colors, and we'll look at some layers. Now, I already have a lot of images in high definition on my videos. I just went through my videos for the first time on my widescreen, on my big screen. I've been watching my videos on the small screen. So last night I decided I better look at my work and get a really good look at it, and there are some things I want to improve on, etc. But I'm very happy with these images, because the gemstone images are in high definition, and they're enlarged, and it looks really beautiful. Which is one reason why that is the theme of this year is beauty, because Christianity and it has a lot to do with beauty. That's why I'm spending almost the whole year on that. I only have a few lessons on beauty left. This one here is more along the lines of love and beauty, because a child is love and a child is beautiful. Therefore, those are two of the main ideas. It also gets into some science and biology, which I'm not going to get into too much, okay? So let's get back to 16, which is every person is a gem, every person, and that's why God created 12 tribes of Israel, and each one of them is represented by a gem. Each tribe has a certain personality, you might say, okay? Idiosyncrasies or whatever, the way they roll or whatever you might want to say, but they are special, they're original, and one of the nicest things about being a Christian and sharing Jesus Christ with people is not just that they're saved, but that their brain is saved. In other words, a sound mind is the only way to go for a gazillion reasons. One reason is, and I put this up here recently on my videos, that the first thing the Master said was that the Spirit of the Lord is upon me to preach the gospel to the poor, salvation to the poor, because the poor have nothing to lose, essentially. That's why the poor are generally saved. And furthermore, that his first job to the poor in bringing salvation was to bind up their broken heart. That becomes a very, very, very big issue here. The second was, and the third was, the psychological condition is going to improve dramatically. For instance, there's a lot of suicide, unfortunately, amongst college students in America. Well, one of the main reasons for the suicide is that they have gotten away from spiritual energy. They've gotten away from pleasing Father. They left Father at the grocery store, and they expect things to work out for them. It'll never work out for any human or American or anyone. It'll never work out to your best interest for you to leave Father at the grocery store. It'll never work out for you. I don't care how much you like your cat. I don't care how much you like your piano. It doesn't matter. It's not going to work out for you, because you were created with eternity in your being, and you were created to have a relationship with Big Daddy. And kicking into the curb under any conditions is called bad idea. Okay? Bad idea. And I talk to people, I've done some counseling here recently, and all I get is bad idea. I take care of cats, I take care of dogs, I take care of this, I keep my house clean, I watch TV, I shop on Amazon, I do this, I do that, I watch new movies where they have outer space and the earth moves 400 yards a second and the earth is curved and all of this Babylonian nonsense, and you wonder why you are bereft. They wonder why they're empty and the roller coaster is just not working. A roller coaster doesn't do you any good. You need a flat line. That's what you need. Of intelligence and care. And the only way to get that is to put Father in the car. If you keep kicking Father out of the car, get out. Get out of the car, Daddy. I don't want to hear what you got to say. Then you're asking for trouble. Because the only way to have to guard your heart and to guard your mind and to have a heart that is stable, so that you can rejoice in your heart thoroughly and sufficiently, is for you to prioritize Daddy. There's just no other way. It's not going to work for you. that's one of the reasons why we are very excited about sharing the gospel and reaching people who have pushed away the gospel before, and by using these high definition movies and some of these instrumentals on romance and things that we're doing, we're trying to entice people to get away from Babylon and confusion and the roller coaster of the world. As though the roller coaster of the world is going to be something that's beneficial for you. And the roller coaster of the world is, I love the world, and the world is everything to me. And that's a horrible state of mind. It might work out for you, off and on, or that's why it's called a roller coaster. But the only way to stabilize yourself so that you don't fall into a pit of some sort is to get on the narrow path and stay on the narrow path, and now you're stabilized. You'll have the ghost of Father in you, whereby that you won't think about hurting yourself, and you'll realize that you're a special gem made from God. God doesn't need you, but he finds value in you based upon you kneeling to the Son of the living God. That's where value is found in you, and that value isn't even you. You've just put on the value of the Son of God on you. You're covered, Yom Kapara in Hebrew, you're covered with the value of Jesus Christ. So when the Lord sees you, he sees the value of Jesus covering you. You don't have any value. There's no value in you. Humans ruin the value in them when they make one mistake. You're no longer valuable to God when you make one mistake. However, when you come to Jesus Christ, now you're covered with value. And he's going to recognize you now because he can't see your mistakes. He can't see your errors. There goes Jeremiah. Hey, Jeremiah, how you doing? Jeremiah, who has no mistakes. How you doing? I'm doing fine, Lord. Thanks for asking. Thanks for asking how I'm doing. I don't see the sin you made, Jeremiah, 1,000 years ago. I know that that you used to be a sinner, but I don't know what it is you did. It's all covered. And that's what's going to make you special. In other words, you're a new creation now, and you're covered, and God's still going to recognize your soul as lovable at this point. And this becomes extremely significant because now you're lovable, see, because you came to the Son. The only way to find yourself lovable by Big Daddy is for you to go to the Big Son. That's the only way. God doesn't need you. He doesn't find any value in you. He finds value in you based upon the covering of the value of Jesus. And he knows you used to be a sinner, but he just doesn't know what it is. That's why the Bible says we will sing of the mercies of the Lord forever. We will sing of God's mercy towards us forever. That means that he shined it on. I know what you did, Jeremiah, but shine it on, bro. We said that in the late 60s in the United States here, in California, at the beach. I used to live near the beach. I'm a beach boy. Let me tell you something. They used to walk around and they'd go, "Hey, bro, how you doing?" "Oh, I forgot to do that." And they would say, "Shine it on, bro." In New York in the 40s, they used to say, "Forget about it." That's what God is doing to people. That's what the rainbow means, in case you didn't know that. God allowed water to go through the astrodome. There's an astrodome right on top of your head. That's what the stars are in. They're in a glass dome, and you can see the shape of the dome when you look at the shape of the rainbow. How do you think the rainbow got to the shape it is? Out of nowhere? No way. Let's get back to the lesson germane. You are a special original gem from God, and you understand that when you become born again. This is why we push born againism, but we can't make college students come to Jesus Christ. We can't do that. So they won't throw themselves away if they look ugly in the mirror or they get an F in science or biology. The kind of things that make people throw themselves away. If they would have come to Jesus Christ, knelt before the Son of the living God at Jordan, at Bethabara, and they humbled themselves in the sight of the Lord and declared themselves sinners and that they want to be saved and they want to please the Son of the living God, they would have a delight in their bodies, in their souls, whereby that they wouldn't hurt themselves like that. 99 times out of 100. Instead of having such a high suicide rate here in America, for example. And now that COVID is here, I hear it's worse. I don't know the numbers, but we don't want anyone hurting themselves. And the way to have a mind whereby that you won't hurt yourself is for you to recognize that you're a special gem created by God. And that goes from beginning to end. That's one sad thing about modernity and modern man pertaining to this casual, pernicious attitude towards humans. This malicious attitude towards humans. And what this does is it creates a flippancy in the minds of Americans and people around these mesas that your life is not really worth that much, and you're some sort of an animal or something, or you're not an animal. I was just looking at my dictionary, and they called humans animals. Listen, just because a dictionary was made in America and doesn't mean everything in your dictionary is correct. If you go to a university of high learning, and I've been to 3 high learning college institutions. So actually, I've been to 4, and I attended one as for dormitory purposes, and that was in Orange, California, Chapman College. But just because you go to a university doesn't mean that they know what they're talking about, because they said this is high learning. Obviously, we have a lot of admiration for a lot of these courses and subject matter, the subject matter in a lot of these institutions. But just because they say they are, scientific, that doesn't mean they're scientific. That's the point. And we can see by the rate of people who harm themselves, unfortunately, the young Americans, for example, that they're not getting the tools to see themselves as valuable, pertaining to in Christ being valuable. Because if Christ went to the cross and suffered horribly, then he must have found something in you whereby that he wants to preserve you. There's nothing in you that's good, but he still wants to preserve you. He knows your capacity to do good, but the bottom line is that there's no good in human beings. They can perform good, but they are basically of no use to God. However, in Jesus Christ, all of a sudden, we find that you are now, we can have concourse. We can talk to God, and we can communicate, and now we can share our personality with God. See, that's the gemstone idea. In Christ, God does not mind communicating with you and enjoying your fellowship, but only in Jesus Christ. That is the main point here. And that makes you a gem of quality. Christ in you is making you lovable. That is the main point here. Okay? You're not lovable on your own. Because all humans are stained, and God is absolutely pure. We just looked at John 14 yesterday, where the Master said the devil is coming, and he has nothing in me. Jesus has nothing to do with the devil and evil, darkness. Jesus could never be mean for 5 seconds. He's absolutely pure. So when he's talking to humans, he's talking to people who are not pure, but when they come to him to serve him and love him and to listen to his commandments, all of a sudden we have a snap, crackle, pop, we have a gem on our hands, and we have a relationship, and we have a saved person, and we have someone who is psychologically sound. That's what the sound word means. It means balanced, it means in harmony, okay? We'll be right back with this will be part 5, or I think this is part 5 of Love in the Womb, okay? We'll be right back. Maranatha.